I thought I'd give you a video tour rather than trying to explain this in an email, but this is the upper cage. Let me zoom out a little. You see the spider, which was actually too long for the mirror size. This is what I had. Was let through the struts and then attached with these standoffs so you can tension it. It'll pull it into and out of that. So of course there's 4 in each quadrant. Here's the one with the focusing board. See, the focusing board has little set screws next to the big tensioning screws, so you can tip and tilt the focuser as needed. For instance, if it's aimed too far left, you could loosen the screws on the right and drive in the set screws a hair, and it would tip it out, center it up, and the same of course top to bottom. Right now it's just flush, it's just flat. I put a little collimation sight tube in there. It's got a crosshairs and give you a good visual way to collimate quickly the mirrors, though if you have a laser collimator it would be ideal. But this thing will get you at least centered up with as far as the orientation of the focuser and the position of the diagonal. Of course, it's a 2-inch and with a 1/4 inch and a 1/4 adapter in it, just like usual. And there's the rest of the struts around there, the spider and the diagonal. It's the smaller of the 2 diagonals, which I think will be a lot better for visual use. There'll be some slight vignetting that you would never notice unless you did some CCD photography. But that's a slightly smaller central obstruction, which gives you better contrast, and I found it to work really nicely with visual daubs. And you can I've decided to put the mirror in, and it's got the wadding behind it for tension, and it's adjusted. Rather than ship it in its box, I think it'll be well protected inside the drum case that I've got for shipping. So again, 4 screws here for tip and tilt, left and right, back and forth, or whatever, as well as the height of the mirror with this screw. I found this is not as long as I had thought from the previous calculations. I guess the old spider, the old diagonal must have had a longer shaft, or maybe the spider was down a little bit lower, and I had to run it all the way out to get it to look like it was centered up in the sight tube, but it looks perfect there, which is really ideal because you don't have a extra screw head sticking out on top, but it doesn't give you much room to go down any lower. You have to be a little creative with the screws. You could push it down by turning them all in, loosening it. And that's about it. You have a nice Event Horizons focuser from JMI. That I'll include with it. And then we have the truss tubes. Again, these things are hopefully much longer than you need, because you'll have to set it up and then cut these off to whatever length you really need. But remember, it's always best to have them too long than too short. You can't really make them any longer when you cut them off. So right now they should all be plenty long enough, and you just cut them all off equally. Simple hacksaw will do, or if you want, you can use a chop saw. Most chop saws will cut through aluminum with no problem. So these things are pretty nice. I like the way they work. I've made them myself. This came from a kit. I'll send you the details on it. They had plugs that you put in the ends. then you drilled out for these tube saddles, and then these flat birch pieces with dressing washers and screws to hold them on. They'll let you, of course, angle the tubes as necessary. And then the top part is just a cam that will tighten down on the upper cage, and it's got a couple of fender washers on either side, a little adjustment here for initial attention, and then of course the cam lock to lock them in place. You put the 4 sections, the 8 tubes, in the lower mirror box, and then hopefully, if it's not too high off the ground, or maybe with the aid of a friend or a step stool, set the upper cage down on it and crank them down, and it should be good to go. A nice, quick, easy way to set up and tear down the scope. Anyway, as soon as I find a shipping container that can hold those tubes, I'll have this, and then I'll send the very nice drum case. It's padded, hard shell. It'll be great for storage, and it should protect it very well. Plus I have the shipping box it came in, so I'll double box it and send it out, and I think everything should arrive just fine, and hopefully it'll be up and running shortly. By the way, this is the shipping container. It's a Humenberg drum case, hard shell, with padding on all sides. Should do the trick, and it'll be great for storage after the fact too.